April. We're almost at the end of the month, and it's really exciting because we get to talk about these incredible issues around mental health and social work and our children and our families and the things that matter to our communities. Today, I have my friend with me, Alyssa Abernathy. She is no stranger to this platform. She's been with us a few other times, sharing her incredible, brave story and all the work that she's doing that I highly admire around social work and the five boroughs, well, particularly in New York City, Queens, and Brooklyn. But I like to say the five boroughs. But I'm so happy to have Elisa with us today. We're going to talk more about her work as it relates to mentoring, as it relates to scholarships, and also what she's doing in the field of social work. Elisa, welcome again. Thank you for being with me again.
No, thank you for having me. It is a complete honor to sit on this platform with such a prestigious,
Oh,
well known, accomplished woman in the space of the nonprofit world, right?
yeah.
So I'm excited to be here with you today.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for those kind words. So I want to share a little bit about your bio for those that don't know Elisa. She was born in Queens, New York. This I just found out, by the way. I totally thought she was a Brooklynite, y'all, but it's all good. She still is a Brooklynite. She resides in Brooklyn. Elisa values family above everything else. She's a daughter. She's an incredible mom, and she's a sister. Elisa completed her bachelor's in liberal arts from the College of New Rochelle. Um, and she also completed her master's degree from Long Island University. Elisa founded a nonprofit organization, which we'll talk about, Life Equip Group Incorporated, in 2019, where it's her personal experiences that inspired her to create this nonprofit that really does empower adolescents and young girls and low income disadvantaged communities through educational, professional, and personal development. And Elisa is a community service co-chair for Sigma Gamma Raw Sorority. She also is founded her own practice this year, 2024. Congratulations on that. Which is called Pathway Partner Solutions LLC. We'll talk more about that later as well. This practice aims to provide a comprehensive range of therapeutic services from coaching and support to individuals using a holistic approach. Lisa has been recognized and honored for her outstanding service and volunteer work. She also, add this, previously served with myself at NASW New York City chapter. We co-chaired the new professionals committee together, and it was incredible experience working with her. So, is there anything that you want to add, Elisa, that I may have left out?
Absolutely not. I mean, I can add. I serve in my ministry from a religious perspective, and on different. I do a lot. I just do a lot. Too much to add in the bio. We want to sure, but yeah, I just do a lot. My greatest passion in life is to serve and to give back. That's what's important to me.
I love that. That goes right into our first question about you. I think people like you that are servants have a servant heart and is really committed to community work. Uh, there is always a story behind that, and I've heard your story personally, but I would love for you to share it again. What's your story behind all of the incredible work that you do and how you got to where you are today?
Um, so the story, so as you earlier stated, I am from Queens, New York, born to Bernal and Abernathy, and I have two younger brothers. My story starts out as me being a young lady who was looking for something, right? Not sure about myself, and wanted to explore and live life. And my story starts with me becoming a teen mom at the age of 15 and a half. Then it goes into me becoming a high school dropout and me just literally trying to figure out who I am and what it is that I wanted to do. I come from a really great background. My mom and my dad separated at some point in life, but my mom was super active. She actually was a pastor. So I grew up in a pretty well-rounded space, but I just still wanted something else. What I had no idea. So I went externally outside of what my values or what I was, my upbringing was to find that. And so one day, so I always say my life changed the day I started to listen to my mother. I
Mm,
always thought I knew it all, right?
mhm,
Which I think most parents, largely, especially once they get into the teenage, the adolescent years, they
mhm,
start to find themselves and create an identity for themselves. So
mhm,
for me, I was finding myself, but I was finding myself in the wrong places, in the wrong faces, and so I made some premature decisions. It didn't stop me from becoming who I am today. I
mhm.
really believe it was a part of my story that gave me the skills and the life experience, the educational life experience to be able to help the next person. So I went back to school, got my high school diploma. I got a bachelor's degree, I got a master's degree, and I just kept going, right? Then the nonprofit, now find a licensed social worker, which I really feel like a lot of my lived experiences were created for me to go to speak to the greater population of young people, women, minorities, to let them know that your setbacks or your temporary setbacks are not to keep you there, but to give you something to hope for and to strive for.
Yo, that's incredible. And, I hate using the word resilience because I feel like it's overrated in our field. But I think it's bravery and courage, and it's really defying all the odds that were against you and deciding and having the willpower to say, I'm not going to be a statistic, as they would say, um, but to create a new statistic in a way.
Yeah.
So I'm so just taken back by your story every time I hear it. I have a 12-year-old daughter. So when you say like 15 and a half, I'm like, whew, that right there is such perseverance, such willpower you have to be able to tread through what I can imagine.
And I like that you said that, because so I'm creating all these different things, and all of these different visions are being downloaded for me to create spaces, even for parents, right?
Yeah.
Who they're navigating parenting adolescents who are going through this transitional process of figuring out who they are, and us trying to see how we can be present in this age, right? This is the age of technology. A lot of our young
Mhm.
people, they are gleaning to social media. They're gleaning to different outlets to gather information. So how do I show up to say, hey, mom, dad, the reality is this is the age that we're living in. How can we give you the tools and equip you to be able to support your children through these different developmental changes, and so that they can embrace their individuality, but hold true to the cores and values that are being installed in them by their parents. So that parents won't be fearful of them growing up, but embrace their growth and their transition
Yeah.
and support them in
Well, I need to be a part of that because I'm very fearful of my child growing up.
that.
Oh, no, so scared. Yes, to everything you said. And we think about, like, parenting today, Lisa, it looks very different, right? We spend hours, days, months, and years at iRaise thinking of ways to understand this new generation of parents, and ways to engage them. I mean, it's not we don't have an answer yet, but I love to hear what you tried and what has been effective for you so far.
That's really a great question. So, for me, one of the things, and this is simple to me, but one of the things is I've been immersing myself in what they like. I've
Oh,
been going into, even if it's against whatever I'm not losing myself, right? I'm still holding true to my values. I'm
good.
still holding true to what my belief sets are, but I am immersing myself into the environments, the spaces, the cultures, the things that they are into, from music to art to dance to social media conversations. Like, I'm immersing myself in these spaces so that I can
Mm,
understand, why are they intrigued by this? Why do they like this? I may even learn a little dance move, right?
yeah.
Because there's certain things that life. And in order to get them to hear you, I've learned that you have to meet them where they are and you have to really listen.
Yeah.
One of the other things that is not really my thing, but actually my mentor, Ricardo, he's actually been studying the different types of the generations. And he's been exploring Generation X and Y and Z
Yeah,
and all
that's
these
my
different
thing. I love
generations. Yes, and so he's been sharing this with me, and so I've actually by myself
wow.
looking into the different generations that are to come and what they're actually interested in. And so the next generation is going to be immersed in technology. So if
Yeah.
I'm running a youth program, then my a lot of the components of my program need to be technologically inclined. So I can't give them a bunch of paper. I need to have a tablet and let them scan it, right?
Yeah.
Even though some parents don't really agree with it because there are studies about the impacts of too much screen time, right?
Sure.
However, if I'm trying to get them to engage in a particular program or in a particular space, then I need to provide what it is that they are utilizing that will make them engage.
Yeah. I love what your friend Ricardo, your mentor, is doing. One of my passions are studying generation. Now I'm not doing it in any like formal way.
Right.
I certainly am constantly trying to understand and keep up with the latest research and really through observation and assessing what is this generation needed. Are our interventions generationally appropriate, which is a word we
Mhm.
started using over the last few years when we realized there was such a significant change in our world, in our young people, in the way they understand and see the world and engage with the world, but we weren't quite meeting what that generation needed, right? And so I'm a firm believer in making sure we talk about like culture relevancy and but I like to use the word generationally appropriate
Yeah.
because our models a lot of times are based on generation Y or baby boomer generation or
Yes,
like,
yes.
you
Which
know,
is
right?
totally out of date. It doesn't even correlate. Yeah.
Outdated generational methods. So I love that you said that. I also love the point about immersing and parents' sort of life. I think that one of the things that we're missing is that connection and that relationship. And I think traditionally, when we're thinking about Black and Brown parents and the ways that we've engaged with them, it's very punitive. It's like we're some police officers, like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you're not compliant," right? But, like, that's antiquated too. It's also not effective, you
I
know?
think and that's a fact. But I also believe, like you said, from the generational perspective, but it's also it's based out of fear. It's birthed out of fear, right? We're
Yeah.
seeing all of the now it's one thing. So for me, for instance, when my approach, so I have my son, he just turned 25. And
Huh.
so my conversation, my thought was, I never want my son to have to go externally to learn about certain things, right? And so instead of me being fearful of my son becoming a teen parent or my son having children prematurely, I said, let me have conversations with him about these subject matters so that he can be educated and he can make educated decisions, right? And so I think that a lot of what parents are doing and the punitive is because I just don't, and I come from a religious background, it was close your legs, open your Bible, right?
That
And
was
it was
it.
just like that was
It
it. It wasn't
was.
no clarity on you're a woman, you're developing. This is what's happening. These are the changes. And so, because maybe my mother was fearful, or because she also used her teaching and her upbringing to raise me. And so, as generations is changing, as decades are going on, things are progressing, things are moving forward. And so, we as parents, we need to understand the now because utilizing old methods clearly isn't working. And we got to get out of fear. We got to get prepared. We have to get educated.
I love that. The way out of fear is through education. Because a lot
Hmm.
of times, I think fear comes from the unknown. It's the unknown, it's fear of not having control, but if you prepare, you actually can reduce a lot of those the fear-based sort of, decisions and thoughts. I'm also thinking, at least if you can speak towards how programs and community-based organizations are also using outdated methods and some of the things that they can also do to better connect and engage with young people.
I think that a lot of community-based programs and the program in general is based on what is available and access and funding. And it's so funny. I'm thinking this way because I my long-term goal is to get into policy work. And a lot of what is happening in the programming and the things that we're seeing happening in our inner cities is because of the policies and the programs and the programs that are created based off policy, which provides funding for these programs to be able to be established and created and operate within our inner cities. And so that's the first issue. I see that they are only working with what they got, right? The second is like most, and I don't want to say most, but with a lot of businesses and organizations, they're the person that's running it may not understand what's actually happening on the ground, right? So, who do you have that's really on the ground, that's in these communities, that understand what they actually need so that the program that's created meets the need? And the final is access to information. I like to call myself the resource. I am the go in between. I am the one who can connect you to what you need. And I'm finding that, and I've been sitting in a lot of meetings in the community that I particularly serve, and a lot of parents are just not getting the information. So the programs may be there, the services may be there, but how are we transmitting this information?
And thank you for that. I was looking for the mute button. I apologize for the elongated silence, but I was thinking about what you said around we use what we have. And so when you talk about policy, you're talking about my heartbeat, first of all, because I love policy. I fell in love with policy many years ago because, like you said, there is such a disconnect between the ones that are making the decisions that are at the table and what actually happens in real life.
Yeah.
Who are at these tables making decisions about what programs are effective? Who are at these tables making decisions around the funding and the funding models? And who are at the tables to ensure that they're getting into the right hands of the right nonprofits and CBOs that can actually be effective in delivering the service model? So you talk about policy, and that's absolutely where the gap is. And you also talked about the people on the ground. There is a major disconnect between who's running programs and who's at the front line, our frontline workers who
Yeah.
are on the ground, boots on the ground. They
Yeah.
understand, they know, and I think it's a multi-systemic solution, but one of them is through understanding and transforming policies in a way that we're able to get the right funding and the right interventions in the hands of the right people and serve the right communities.
I'll give you an example. It's an organization in East New York. They were looking to host a conversation for young ladies, where they were going to have a panel discussion. They were going to talk about various topics. And I was talking to the organizer, and I said, "Hey, just let me know. I'll be there." She said, "Oh, we're not doing it anymore." And I was like, "Oh." She was like, "Yeah, the lady said they're tired of talking." This is the
Mm,
young ladies who were to be the participants in the conversation about becoming an entrepreneur, business, education. Their response was, "We are tired of talking." So
wow.
for me, that spoke volumes because it says, okay, we do need to have conversations. We do need to have panel discussions. We do need to introduce certain subject matters and conversations to our young people. But some of them are simply tired of talking. They're tired of sitting in rooms. Their thought is, well, what's next? How do I actually
Mm.
do this? And so, it's one thing to want to start an organization, it's one thing to want to start a program. It's a whole different thing to understand the demographic and the group of people that you're actually want to provide this service to, and if it is a need or is it something that you just want to do.
That's so good, right? And there are powers that be that make a lot of these decisions, right? Some people may start organizations like you, which we'll talk about Life Equip in a moment, and because they see a need. But then there is the other layer over that is on a government level, and that might be programs that governments initiate, and that's sort of the pipeline and how that's disseminated to communities. There's a lot of sort of inefficiencies but behind that. Um, so completely agree with you, but I wonder if we can just pivot a little bit and talk about Life Equip. I've been seeing your work. I'm so proud of you. I have my little certificate hanging up in my office, and every time I see it, I smile because I think about you and your mom and the legacy and the impact you guys are making in the community. But tell us more about Life Equip, all the things that you're doing, and whatever else you want to share. Any updates on it?
So the Life Equip group is a work in progress. This is why I always want to sit in a room with you. I just want to be a fly on the wall and just learn how you navigated through your earlier years of going from being yourself a one-man team to running multiple sites, relocating to states. Life Equip Group is evolving, it's growing, but I will say that entrepreneurship as a whole is not for the faint in heart. So, Life Equip Group, this year, I'm excited to say that the Life Equip Group we will have a space that we will be officially running one of our programs.
Okay.
Last year, we were able to partner with the school, which actually the school called us back to run our LEG Cares program. So the LEG Cares, not the LEG Cares program is a part of one of our programs, and our programs is called like LEG Care Service Learning Program. So we pivoted the program. So what we wanted to do was create a model we created a actual curriculum around service and service learning and its benefits for youth and young adults when gaining skills, social, emotional well-being, community networking. And so this particular program will be in Brooklyn this year. It's going to be, we're partnering with the Opportunity Hub. And the Opportunity Hub is actually a new program that is it's not new, but it is more visible in the East New York section of Brooklyn. And so we're excited about that. It's going to be a 6-week program. And so the great thing about the LEG Care Service Learning Program is that not only will they be getting curriculum, but we're actually going to be going into the community and we're actually physically going to be volunteering. So we're going to be partnering with different organizations in East New York and throughout New York City, giving young people the opportunity to go into different communities to actually physically give back. So that's really, really, really major. For me, I learned early on in my educational career the importance of volunteerism and giving back and how it can build your resume, build skill set. And so, I'm really pushing this because this is the heartbeat of, honestly, of Life Equip Group is service learning and volunteerism and giving back. That is the core of the organization. Also, we are going to be launching it's going to go virtual first and then it's going to go in person, but it's called The Sanctuary. The Sanctuary is a self-help therapeutic safe space that's going to be led by professionals and non-professionals. It's going to create an environment of healing where the participants, as well as those who are leading the conversations, are able to navigate through different topics virtually and in person. So it is going to be a group setting. And this year, Brown Girls Learn Scholarship Fund Brunch and Awards ceremony will be back again. We are working on that. And yeah, it's just so many things that we have coming down the pipeline that we are excited to introduce and bring to the community.
Wow, I love that so much. I am so elevated hearing that. It lifted me up in so many ways, Alyssa. Alyssa, tell us, where does the inspiration come from? Like all the creativity and the innovation, ingenuity that you have. Where does it come from?
Me thinking about the younger Lisa, the Alyssa who needed these type of spaces to be able to go into so that I can unpack the different traumas that I experienced as a young person. I'm always thinking about what do they need? And like I said, I talk to a lot of young people. I'm around a lot of young people. They all gravitate to me. I gravitate to them. And we find ourselves just having these really, really deep conversations. And not even, and to be transparent, not even just the young people. I have a lot of adults that I don't know how we get here, but we just have really deep conversations, and they feel really safe in their ability to be able to communicate with me. So yeah, it's just me always thinking forward, what's next, what's needed.
Absolutely. And it reminds me of what you said earlier around an organization you're working with, and they were supposed to be doing this great event. You call back and you're like trying to get information, and the participants said, we're tired of talking. Sometimes they're tired of talking because they're not talking in safe spaces,
Mm, mhm.
or with people that look like them and that understand them, and that's going to do something about it. But you're doing that through the Brown Girl Scholarship. Is that the name of it, or did I mess that
Brown,
name
no, it's okay. Brown Girls Learn Scholarship Fund is the name of it. And I wanted to piggyback and say, not only am I having conversations with them, I'm talking about what they want to talk about. See,
up?
that is the larger message, right? Are we talking about what they want to talk about? Are we talking about what we think they want to talk about? There's a
There's the difference. We're gonna have to have another talk
difference.
on what do they really want to talk about. Because I think you got all these old people in the room that don't look like our kids, and like, we're gonna create a curriculum. It's like, who did you create this curriculum with? It has to be co-created with the families and the kids we're serving. Otherwise, they're not gonna be into it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna feel like another classroom experience. And so that's where, I did create Life Equip Camp. I haven't officially launched that. I tell you, these ideas coming. But Life Equip Camp has that in mind, right? A non-traditional camp that's empowering youth and young adults to succeed in life in different areas of life. It's taking what they're getting in a classroom to the next level, right?
Mhm.
Adding more to it. We're not just talking about math, we're talking about finance, investment, and saving, right? And iRaise does all of these great things. Your
Mhm.
organization, you guys are just elevating, raising the bar. And so
Yeah.
that's what it's about, right? Having organizations like yourself that are innovative, that are leaning into young people and equipping our next generation. See, this is important.
Yeah.
We have to really think about our next and our legacy. Legacy doesn't mean someone you just gave birth to, right? And
Mm.
so we have to think about the next group of people, human beings that are to sit in political seats, that are
Yeah.
sitting in, community boards. We have to
Yes.
think about how we're shaping and influencing them.
This is so good. I love this. I don't want to leave this conversation, but we must.
Yes.
Um, tell us before we're closing about your new private practice. Congratulations again on that. Pathway Solutions. Um,
Pathway Partners Solutions. I haven't even introduced it formally to the world because I am still strengthening my clinical lens, because a lot of my social work that I've done has been really administrative, leadership based, but I am strengthening my clinical arm. And so Pathway Partners Solution, as you mentioned earlier, is just a comprehensive range of therapeutic services with a holistic approach in mind, right? Mind, body, soul, and spirit, right? And bringing all of that together to help people navigate through this pathway of life. So I read this quote today that speaks more to Pathway Partner Solution, and we can close after this. Healing through meaning is the greatest gift that one person can give to another. What occurs between the healer and the one to be healed is seldom addressed. It is not a therapeutic technique, but rather the unfolding of the sphere of the between, or that which refers to Martin Buber refers to as the dialogical. And so that really spoke to me about the importance of partnership through healing and navigating hard spaces in life. And so healing is possible through partnership. And so that is my thought process of Pathway Partner Solution, allowing me to partner with you through your healing process.
That's so incredible. And I love that because, as a therapist, you're invited into this world but to help. But it's a journey and it is a partnership, right? I think our traditional approaches have always been very top down, and our new way looks like let's join hands and be on this journey and partner together in your healing. So talking about generationally appropriate, I think that absolutely is. Um, we're coming to a close, but I just really would love for you to just like any words of encouragement to parents out there that might be dealing with the burdens of parenting right now and may not necessarily feel that sense of uplifting. Anything you can say to sort of encourage them.
Um, there's no perfect way to do it. If I couldn't say anything else, that would be the biggest part, because I even have a whole nother story right behind partnering, parenting, and parenting a child with a developmental disability, parenting a child who's trying to figure out themselves. Like I have a whole like my story could go right, but there's no perfect way to do it. I would say find community. Go to iRaise, ask them, do you have a space for me to learn tools? Find resources, right? Look for resources. I think we think that we have to journey alone. You do not have to journey alone. Just look. Google is your best friend. I Google everything. And also to follow Life Equip Group on Instagram, on Facebook. We're always sharing resources, community resources throughout New York City, more specifically Brooklyn, Brownsville, East New York area. But just follow iRaise. They're also sharing resources. There's so many resources. Find your community, find your tribe, and you do not have to do this journey alone.
I love that so much. We can't do it alone, Lisa. We would be a hot mess if we tried. I really believe in this proverb where we always hear it takes a village, and then I also believe in the tribe, and I think that that's where our healing comes from and our solution. So thank you for all that you're doing. It's incredible work. It's the beginning of something. I think it's a beginning of a new wave that our generation has been looking for. So thank you for pushing forward, for your story, for your testament, and for all your contributions to the field of social work, to the community, and to humanity. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa. And thank you all for watching. Please follow Alyssa and her group, the Life Equip group. There, if you subscribe or follow her on, was it Instagram,
Facebook.
and Facebook? If we can put the handles up too at some point, the
Yeah.
Life Equip group, that would be great. Um, I do see the information. She does share information. So if you're a parent and you're looking for information, you could definitely follow the Life Equip group as well, to see what is being posted up there to help and support you in your parenting journey, as well as your children and your family. And then also, we want you to follow iRaise, of course, on all social media platforms at iRaise.org. And then lastly, I'll make a quick announcement. We are launching our executive coaching program online. And this is open. Yours truly is teaching it. I only do this every year, once a year. And this may be the last year I'll do it because I may be passing it over to someone else to do. So if you want your kids to be coached by me for a very low cost or even free, then please register for executive coaching. Registration will close. We are officially launching on May the 8th. It's going to be a condensed, intense entrepreneur coaching program where they'll get weekly in class coaching from myself. They'll be matched with a career coach or a business coach, and they'll be able to present at a Shark Tank event at the end of this. And you definitely want to make sure your kid is there if they have an entrepreneur spirit or if they're interested in starting their business. Please register. Seats are limited. We're only taking 30 kids. We're capping it at 30. So if you're interested in that, please register. Also, we want to make sure you're up to date with all of our podcast episodes. So please subscribe to our podcast on your preferred platform. Elevate, and we're excited about all the work we're doing. You saw the handles also for Alyssa's group. please reach out and learn about sponsorships and how you can get connected to the community and to the work that we're doing. We appreciate you all so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you
Thank
for being
you.
with us, for sharing this time with us. Thank you, Alyssa.